Well, here we are. The end of the road. Or the end of a road, at least. Planet of the Spiders is a 6-part serial from 1974. Oh, come on! Again? Why is it such a crapshoot when it comes to these imported Doctor Who DVDs? Most of the time, they work just fine on my New Zealand PlayStations, but every now and then you'll get a disc that just doesn't work because of region restrictions, and it's infuriating. I used to be able to watch them on the laptop I borrowed to make these reviews, but since I had to buy my own laptop, I haven't been able to, because apparently they just don't make laptops with disk drives anymore, which is stupid. Get out of here, disc 1. Oh, no, I just got that window fixed. But wait, what's this? Disc 2 has the feature-length omnibus version of the story? It's a miracle! But, is it an abridged version? Well, it doesn't say anything about that on the back cover of the DVD, and in the 5 articles I read online while researching the subject, it didn't say anything about it being shorter, so it must be the full-length thing. Alright! Wait a second, that seems like the end of episode 1, but why has it come so early? Oh, dadgummit! It is an abridged version! Why? It didn't say anything about it on the back of the DVD cover. Omnibus doesn't mean abridged or shortened or cut down. For crying out loud. You know what? Screw you too, disc 2. Not my other window! Oh! Oh, sorry about that intro, folks. I was just really thrown off by the whole situation. And yes, in case you're wondering, I did actually throw the DVD on the ground in frustration and broke the corner. I'm going to give this to my dad, there's no point in me having it. In case it wasn't clear already, this is one of only a handful of John Pertwee stories I have already seen way back around 2010. Literally don't remember anything about it other than the iconic spider voices.
I have come to give you the power you seek.
The DVD was part of that pre-owned bundle I picked up last year or the year before, and yeah, unfortunately it did end up being region locked. I had a couple of notes already written down that ended up being useless because after the 17 minutes of the film omnibus edit, I realised, nah, this has got to be like a cut down version, and there's got to be some other scenes that they took out that would add crucial context. So I fired up the good old dreadful Daily Motion, and sure enough, there were about 3 or 4 scenes that had been taken out of just the first episode. So that's how I watched Planet of the Spiders. With Spanish subtitles, 360p quality, constant stuttering, ear-blasting ads, and of course, endless buffering and performance issues. All of this after my longest and busiest week back at work in several months. But you know what? I was so physically exhausted and mentally drained that I didn't care. I just sat back, ate some food, and watched some good old Doctor Who. So what's in store for the Third Doctor's final adventure? Well, with the help of Mike Yates, formerly Captain Yates of UNIT, yes, really, the Doctor and Sarah investigate a group of shady buggers who, thanks to the powers of excessive chanting, have managed to summon and align themselves with a race of intergalactic telekinetic spiders from another world. You know what? I've never actually questioned it. It's par for the course for classic Doctor Who. And yet, saying it all out loud right now made me feel like a madman. Like, that was the most bonkers nonsense ever. What might be even more surprising is that it's actually good. Really good. How the heck does Doctor Who keep finding new ways to surprise me 11 seasons in? I love it. Sometimes I do the whole plot summary and breakdown, but given the fact that this is a regeneration story, I'm going to assume you've either already seen it or are definitely planning on watching it, in which case you want to go in blind. What sets Planet of the Spiders apart from other regeneration stories that I've already seen, and bear in mind I haven't seen all of them, is that this one doesn't feel like the Doctor's final battle, like he's going up against this big, impossible odds, this massive adversary or anything. It's just another adventure with its usual perils that just so happens to claim his life. Because of that, we get to see the Doctor react in shock at the moment that he finds out what he must do, and what it will cost him. We've seen doctors try and run from it, do what must be done, or make the ultimate sacrifice, but always seemingly knowing that the end is near and slowly coming to terms with it, particularly in the modern series where it's always a very drawn-out, epic affair. Like, the writing's on the wall, Doc. There's no getting around it, so you might as well face it head on. But here, the Doctor's going on his merry way, saving the day like every other week, and suddenly he's confronted with, oh, to do this, I'm going to die. Oh well, no time to drag it out, just get on with it. But of course, this is more than just a regeneration. There's still a full 6 episodes leading up to that iconic event. Did they manage to fill that time effectively? Admittedly, nah, not really. There's a few too many chanting scenes that overstay their welcome, and the bulk of episode 2 is essentially a really elaborate chase scene. I had actually enjoyed it, but I did happen to catch a glance at a review of this serial while trying to research information on the Omnibus edit, in which the review stated that the chase scene was pretty superfluous and didn't add anything to the story, and was just a bit too convenient when it came to characters stumbling across empty vehicles ready to commandeer and continue the chase. They're not wrong, but at least for me, I would certainly prefer an exciting land, sea, and air chase more than a boring subplot or useless talking. I can't be bothered thinking of a specific example, but if you've watched a lot of classic Who, then you know that there can be numerous occasions where there's just so much needless talking between characters that adds nothing and goes nowhere. Gotta pad out that runtime somehow. Now, from episode 3 onwards, that's when the spiders become the main threat. Oh, sorry, I mean, the 8 legs. Yeah, apparently the word spiders is forbidden on the planet of Metabilis 3. And yes, if you reckon you've heard that name before, it's because it is the exact same planet that the Doctor went on a lovely little day trip to back in the events of the Green Death, where he picked up a nice little crystal and got attacked by wildlife. In fact, this serial is jam-packed with throwbacks and loving homages to the Third Doctor's tenure. There's a beautifully worded letter from companion Joe Grant. The Drashigs appear on a monitor in the background in one scene. The monk-like character that was referenced in that beautiful scene from the Time Monster even makes an appearance. Like I said, the blue crystal from the Green Death. Heck, even Bessie makes an appearance, and the Who-mobile returns and gets used for more than 30 seconds this time. And of course, they even find a way to have Sergeant Benton and Brigadier Lethbridge-Stewart involved. Benton's barely in it, but that's a shame, because I like Benton. While the Brigadier went from a friendly face to the Second Doctor to more of an annoying assistant manager to the Third Doctor, Sergeant Benton was always there to provide just good times. Except for when he had no clothes on that one time. We don't talk about that. And perhaps most surprisingly, Yates. I was so confused when I start watching and see that Mike Yates is just walking about freely and isn't locked up after his massive betrayal in the invasion of dinosaurs. Dude full-on sided with the bad guys who wanted to return the Earth to a prehistoric paradise that would wipe out all of mankind. I fully expected him to be thrown in a jail cell for years after that level of treason. It was at the point where Sarah Jane Smith just casually gets into a car with him like it's nothing that I realised that the stupid omnibus edit I was watching must have missing scenes, because why would she trust him after that? Well, obviously, when watching the full, proper episode 1, there are scenes featuring Yates leading up to his meeting with Sarah, and while he does mention, oh, I don't know if the Brigadier would want to speak to me, considering the last time I saw him I pulled a gun on my friends, his recent betrayal isn't really addressed at all after that. So, Yates is forgiven now. Alright, kind of undermines the whole bad guy era he had going on, but honestly, I'm just glad his final appearance wasn't as a villain, because that would suck. I say final because I'm pretty sure it's his final appearance in the main series. I know he's in a spin-off like Downtime with the actor who plays Sergeant Benton, but yeah, I don't know if he comes back in the series or not. Alright, got any more notes? Yeah, just a couple of quick ones, you know me. The actors in this are all brilliant, particularly the guy that plays the main baddie, Lupton. This probably has one of the better supporting casts in recent memory, you know? All the actors bring their A-game, and sometimes you've really got to commit to the tomfoolery. A lot of the spiders are voiced by the same voice actress who voiced the Alpha Centauri. Absolute legend. I can see why they brought her back over 40 years later. Speaking of spiders, I am a huge arachnophobe. While my lifelong fear of needles and sharks has somewhat waned over the years, my fear of spiders is still just as strong and just as crippling. Ugh. And yet, These do not scare me, because they are bad. They look bad. They suit the style and the tone of the show, but they are bad. So fellow arachnophobes, rejoice. Also, super fun fact, there's a lot of Buddhist philosophy and jargon present in this episode. I don't care. I don't have a problem with it. People need to stop vilifying beliefs, and honestly, it's not even intrusive in any way. But it's there, so I figured I'd mention it before someone else did. Now, something someone might understandably take issue with is the portrayal of the character Tommy. He's clearly got some learning development difficulties, but he's far from being an offensive caricature, although it was at the point where the crystal changes his mind and Sarah Jane says to him, "Oh, you're normal now." That's when I did cringe a bit. Not very PC, Sarah, but just because that slightly offensive phrasing is, I don't think the character themselves is. More entirely pointless. Take him out of the story and nothing really changes, except it's just one less obstacle for the bad guys to face in one scene at the end where they're shooting force lightning at him. Oh yes, half the characters in this serial, including the spiders, can shoot force lightning. Spiders shoot force lightning. It's like a prelude to the Force Unleashed, just way dumber. Well, a little bit dumber. Now, bringing it all to a close, the Doctor has made the ultimate sacrifice to save the people of Metabolus 3, the people of Earth, and potentially the entire universe. Bloody spiders. It's a surprisingly quick death, but nevertheless heartbreaking. Especially considering that Sarah Jane has finally grown fond of her dear friend, the Doctor. Honestly, it's such a nice scene, with some lovely final words of hope from the Doc, with Sarah and the Brigadier by his side. It would almost be perfect if not for that stupid, silly monk character showing up with his goofy costume and terrible special effects. You want to talk about a caricature? Get him out of here! And so here we are. The end of Jon Pertwee's time in the TARDIS. Third Doctor was always my dad's favourite. I can see why now. A James Bond-esque man of action who's so brilliant and smart. John imbued this character with so much physical energy and absolutely nailed the nonsensical science fiction dialogue. When I started this review series, I had only seen 5 Third Doctor serials, and I guess they just hadn't left much of an impression on me, or more likely, I was still new to the show and was just watching all different Doctor stories out of order just to watch more Doctor Who. But now, I get it. I completely understand why the Third Doctor is many older fans' favourite Doctor. Much like Troughton, he fully embodied this out-of-this-world character and made him believable and made you care about him. He was so endearing. He ushered the show into a new era, full-colour presentation. And to think, when it started back in, what was it, like season 7 or 8, it was held back by these repetitive Earth-based stories. It was a rough ride for me for a while. And while Liz Shaw never got her chance to truly shine, Jo Grant was such an endearing companion, and I very much enjoyed seeing her and her interactions with Jon Pertwee. And while Sarah Jane Smith hasn't quite displayed anything worthy of her iconic companion status yet, I'm very much looking forward to seeing how she develops alongside her new Doctor. And who is this new Doctor? Will he be played by a famous actor, a professional thespian, a beloved legend of the stage and screen? No, he's a bricklayer. Yeah. Straight off the construction yard. This should be interesting. Before I sign off, I just wanted to give a massive thank you to the people that watch these reviews. 2023 has been very difficult for me. In the final day of 2022, my partner of 8 years and I split up. I moved into a tiny, expensive apartment. I got very sick a couple of times. I've struggled mentally almost every day, despite my quality of life not being that bad. And throughout that whole time, I've been doing weekly classic Doctor Who reviews. I have no preconceived delusions of becoming a YouTuber. I've just always wanted to make reviews. And I've always stated that this is my way of practicing video making and review styles. And I'm still not particularly great at it, but I'm a lot better than I was when I started. Coincidentally, since February, every single one of these videos has been a Third Doctor story. Like, New Year, New Doctor. The one thing that has stayed consistent throughout the entire year is my dedication to get one of these videos made each week. The routine has helped keep me sane, and the interactions with all of you have been the highlight of my week, every single week. Heck, I was fortunate enough to get a Josh Snares cameo in my previous review, my favourite Who-tuber. I mean, like, I'm insanely fortunate. Like, that is a highlight in itself. I am so fortunate to have my little crew of 40 or so regular viewers and about 10 regular commenters. Every review that makes it to 100 views is a blessing. Even though none of my Third Doctor reviews have reached that milestone yet, Spearhead in Space is so close. Also, bit of a side tangent for a moment, it just so happened in that specific Spearhead from Space review, I wore this exact shirt and explained that it was from an upcoming song that my favourite New Zealand band, Holloway, was set to release. Well, 7 months later, the song is finally releasing today, actually. So, check out the links in corners or descriptions, pinned comment, wherever I remember to put it. And yeah, listen to another emo banger. Getting back on topic now, not only does this mark the end of the Third Doctor era, but also the end of my 2023 journey with the Third Doctor. I mean, it's probably less poetic and more coincidental, but yeah, the fact that the year started with the Third Doctor's first serial, and it's over now. Going forward with the Fourth Doctor, it's going to be a big change. But I can't wait to get started. But first, I need a holiday. Not to worry though, you're coming with me. I'll see you next week.